because I think we were singing. I can't remember because
Was it Hela Jatika Abhimani?
that was the one. Yeah.
So I don't know why they can't bring him back. It's just a flight back home, and and
I think Darren Stevens is teaching the boys how to play cricket at the moment.
the England's premier all rounder. Yeah. This episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast is sponsored by Four Pillars Gin. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Yeah, good with things are moving along well, and here to have a chat about cricket. How have you been?
Been busy with work. It's starting to get a bit cold now. So getting ready for winter. Some news about Sri Lanka cricket. The team announced for Bangladesh Test Series.
Yeah.
Our development team is in England. We got the dates wrong when we did the last episode. We mentioned this tour is in June, July, but they're already in England. They're playing a match against Kent. And
Darren Stevens is teaching the boys how to play cricket at the moment.
Yeah, the England's premier all-rounder.
Yeah. We'll touch base about the legend or the king in England, Darren Stevens, later on.
Yeah, and we'll talk a bit about IPL. And Chamari Atapattu is back playing some cricket in Dubai, and she has scored 100 already. So it's big to talk about. Let's start with the team that announced for Bangladesh Test matches. They have announced a team of 18 members. Dimut is the captain, and Kamil Mishara, Wajid Fernando, Angelo Matthews, Kusal Mendis, Dhananjaya, Kamindu Mendis, Niroshan Dikwella, Chandimal, Ramesh Mendis. He's back from injury, Bora.
Yeah.
Charmika Karunaratne, Suminda Lakshan, Kasun Rajitha making a comeback. Vishwa Fernando and Asitha Fernando.
The spinners.
Yeah, and we got Dilshan Madhusanka, Praveen Jayavikrama, Lasit Ambuldenia. And there's like a special note in the bottom of that media release. Roshen Silva was included in the original squad. However, he has indicated his inability to tour. As such, the cricket selectors decided to replace Kamindu Mendis in place of Silva.
Yeah.
So don't know what happened there. Obviously, this squad was issued subject to the approval of the sports minister, and I don't know who the sports minister is in Sri Lanka. So.
I told you. Yeah, I remember we had this chat last time saying, look, not sure who's running the country or not sure who's appointed sports minister and what the setup is. Just quickly on that note about Roshen Silva, firstly, I don't know why those kind of notes are released to the media. Even that you announce your 18 or 15 man squad and move on, because it just creates more curiosity or just talk behind the scenes to see what's happening. Roshen Silva is in England playing, I think, taking part in the season over there. Don't know. I mean, history has been Roshen hasn't been a first choice pick into the squad, so I don't know. Maybe that uncertainty led him to go getting an English stint, having to play more cricket under his belt. Initially, he wasn't, I think, in the mix. You never know what the discussions were around.
This is the thing, Bora. I mean, I've been to England to play cricket many times, and every time we go, if you are under contract, you get released. You have to get a no objection certificate. I don't know what's the process now, but that's what's been happening. And in that letter, they say if you're needed for national selection, you have to come back. And so I don't know why they can't bring him back. It's just a flight back home. And
yeah, you're right. I'm just thinking outside the box. I mean, Roshen Silva would have asked, look, am I in the mix? As Bangladesh tour, Australia tour coming up. Where do I stand in the team? And if the selectors had said, sorry, you don't have you're not in the first choice pick, he would have said, okay, I'm going to be playing in England. And now suddenly they say, come in, train with the squad. You might be picked to play the test series in Bangladesh. And he's probably gone and thought, hang on, it's not worth the risk. Not like a Rangan Herath being called straight in, come in to play a test match, in Gaul, come and play. Whereas So this is just a scenario. It might have not happened, but I'm just thinking outside the box because of the uncertainty with the local setups back home. What the discussions were, but I mean, let's focus on the squad. Roshen Silva is out of the squad, so I don't think we need to touch base a lot on that aspect. But Angelo Matthews is there, Dimut Karunaratne is there, Kamil Misharama is potential to be an opener and maybe that backup batsman, wicket keeper for the squad.
Yep.
But I see they've taken Suminder Lakshan. He's a right arm leg spinner and a middle order bat. Has shown I've seen a few games through on YouTube where he's played roles, and I think he's an exciting prospect for us. Just looking at the squad, looks like we might have a new opener in the mix to partner Dimut by the looks of it. So just not sure, might be Kamidu or Oshada Fernando, because Tirivana is not in the mix.
No, he's not there. Oshada's been scoring heavily in that provincial tournament, Bora. Yeah, so he might make a comeback in these two test matches. Looking at the spinning options, obviously we got Ramesh Mendis back. We needed that spinner in our team. We have Dhananjay De Silva. You can call him as an all-rounder because he play a major role bowling those overs to left-handers. And we've got Abul Denia and Praveen Jayavikrama as left-arm spinners.
They haven't picked Dushmantha Chameera, so looks like they're giving him a break or a rest, or maybe peak IPL time he's not available. So he misses out on the Bangladesh tour. Not a bad thing in hindsight, because he's programmed and he's developing on a certain skill set, playing a stronger form out there. Just hope he'll be, I don't know when the IPL schedules might end, but then if we'd like to see him taking part or playing against Australia, much more of a stronger unit. But again, workloads would play a part, because from 20 over cricket to suddenly go into 5-day cricket, it is a challenge. Your body has to cope with longer spells, recovery, and play. Sometimes we've been in the field for a day and a half to 2 days.
It's a very important series. We need these points, Bora. You predicted a 2-0 victory for Sri Lanka. I'm still thinking we'll win the series, but don't think we'll win 2-0.
No, it's gonna be. You're right. It's gonna be a tight series. I'm not highly confident saying it's gonna be a smashing 2-0. I'm just trying to voice my support and back the underdogs this series. But new coach.
Are you backing off?
I'm not backing off. I'm saying 2-0, but I'm not going to say, look, we're going to win inside 3 days, go there. I'm hoping for a first test upset, and then Bangladesh panicking and trying to get a result goes in our favor. So there's certainly going to be results in this test. It's 5-day test cricket in Bangladesh doesn't happen often, where teams can play out draws unless there's the heavy rains. But I think it'll be a result-oriented series. Chris Silverwood settled into his first press conference. I don't know. I saw a few snips of it with Naveed Nawaz as well.
I didn't get a chance to have a look at that, Bora. Anything interesting?
Interesting. Already you could see changes in coaching philosophies or styles. I mean, Chris Silverwood's more on the more relaxed environment. I mean, that was his downfall when he was in the English camp, that he was, too lenient or soft, or that's what was talked in the media. But early signs having to the press conference where he seems to be more lenient, and I think the first reaction is because in the Sri Lankan media, it's all fitness-oriented questions, right? And Chris Silverwood's more of fitness is good. It'll, as long as the players can do their workloads and whatnot. So I don't think he is more into a structured or, hell bent on making sure the players have to, uh, pass certain tests and whatnot. So, but having said that, even it seemed to be a Sri Lankan setup plan where fitness was number one focus. So um, we'd find out what happens over the next course of days, whether Chris Silverwood's gonna make a change in that atmosphere, or it's still gonna be fitness focus driven or whatnot.
Yeah, I think we had this fitness regime going on for the last year, and it's more of a habit and more of a culture, isn't it, Bora? Like, you create that culture in your team. I think Virat Kohli brought that to Indian team. You can see, everyone is keen, and you don't see anyone unfit in that team. So it's a team culture where the senior playing group brings to the team. So I mean, if it's not happening, the coaches and the selectors has to get into the picture. But if not, it's team culture. I mean, you're playing international cricket, and no one has to tell you to be fit or get fitter.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be in your best shape to perform in the highest level. So, but looking at the remarks you mentioned, must be good news for someone like Bhanuka Rajapaksa, who can make a comeback into the white ball setup.
Yeah. Or not only Bhanuka Rajapaksa, we're talking about comebacks, and I mean, we know the situation back in Sri Lanka and things change, uncertain. I mean, you and I, we spoke about having a structure and having form of consistency where, from the top, if there is things being communicated, you got to stick and have a continuation of it. But we are now at a standstill, bit of uncertainty. If there is a change of, government or the ruling setup changes, I'm pretty sure Sri Lanka cricket's going to have a bit of a shake up as well. So would that means that players who are in the system get thrown out and players who are not in the system come back in? And then the players are certainly thinking, hang on, now what do I do here? So it's an interesting position to be in. Like, example, a new coach has a different philosophy. Bhanuka Rajapaksa on current form in the IPL should walk in straight into the Sri Lankan setup. Doesn't matter if they'll probably say, he's played enough IPL games, he meets the fitness criteria, here you go back in. Wonder if they will pick the skin folds back on. And back in the time, the sports minister was voicing his opinion. At the moment, I don't think
he's got
I'm
his
not
own
sure.
problems now, Bora.
Yeah, that's the last of his problems. So not sure I don't know who the sports minister is. I honestly don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan people, that's the last thing they're worried about at the moment.
Yeah.
You're right. Our good friend Upul Taranga used to say Upul was someone who got picked straight out of the school and had a long career. And he used to say the best time to get picked to the national team is when you have a change of management or change of selectors or a change of captain or a coach. So, every time you get new guy on the job and they want to do things differently, and if you are in the right place at the right time, and it might work out for you. That's how cricket world works.
You're spot on. I think just quickly to finish up the test squad that we talk about, I'm sure Chris Silver would look in this squad for a player that he can say, look, this is a guy I brought into the setup and this is my player, or the word my player, or this is the product I've shown as a change. Well, I'm sure Mickey Arthur's jumped on Manidu Hasaranga over numerous times in the past. As other coaches have had successes with certain players. Hatharu Singh, I remember, brought in that fast bowler who I think took a hat trick against Can't remember, but unfortunately he was in the wrong news sometime later. But
Yes.
um, and I think it was first series or second series. He was picked. He took a hat trick or was the man of the match in the final or something. Um, so likewise, there is a player who's going to benefit, and you are right there.
You're right. Shall we move on to the news from the development team who are playing against Kent in England?
Yeah, that's a juicy topic because the first game they
Yeah.
played against with Kent, and today in the morning we are recording on the 7th, and early morning I watched the score and I saw a very familiar name,
Yeah.
score 100, and then I just double check, is this the same D Stevens that I think it is? And um, it just brought a big smile to my face. I was like, is a 40 plus year old
Yes,
guy.
nearly 50. I think. Let me check his
Hitting
age.
is still he's
He's
fighting for England
46.
spot.
He's
So
46.
he's 46. So he's
Yeah.
fighting for English spot and he's playing emerging team. So I'm sure the Sri Lankan boys would have, he would have spoken to the boys and, touch base. 46-year-old. I mean, that's a county legend out there, Still the medium wobbly bowlers plus a middle order bat exist, and Darren Stevens to score 100 against English or the Sri Lankan boys. Um,
168 in
yeah, I
142
know.
balls with
Yeah,
five sixes. So
because I think they were in a spot of bother with that. I think the
um,
score, when you look at the scoreboard, it
yeah,
did.
they were four down for 95.
Yeah,
Then the fifth wicket has fallen, which was Darren Stevens at
yeah.
359. So they put on 250 runs.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're still batting. I'm just checking the scores. 445 for six, Kent. Day two.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how he bowls against our
Yeah.
development team.
He might not bowl because it's a development game, but then again, it is a first class game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You'll value that 100. It's a first class 100. So um, it's just interesting. Even the guy who scored the 100, George Linde, he's that left arm spinner for South Africa. So he might be
Oh, yeah.
their callback player or the overseas
Yeah.
player for that squad. So um, he'll back himself up with taking 100 under his name, a first class 100. But yeah, like Sri Lanka team going into bat, we'll keep an eye out because I think from the names, there's Santush Gunatilaka, who was in the South African, once was named in the South African test squad.
Yeah.
We went out there and then he disappeared out of the radar. So he's appeared, which is good to see in an emerging setup. He's a good bat. He reminds me of Maharuf back in the day through
Right.
school and whatnot, because he's a fast bowler, just built like Maha as well during school time and bats well. Is a good all rounder. I don't know whether he's still continuing his bowling, this Santush, but
He has bowled 2 overs.
yeah, okay. So don't know. Ideally, you'd expect a guy like him, if he's bowling full tilt to bowl, at least a 10 over spell, not two in a full day's game of cricket. So yeah, I don't know what happened there.
No, we've
Who's
used
bowling
8 bowlers, so he's only bowled 2
Yeah,
overs. So that means he's not one of the main bowlers.
maybe he's given up on his bowling a bit. We talked about cricket, Sri Lanka not having matches for their A's,
A-team, yeah.
emergence or whatnot. A team's going to be playing some form of cricket against Australia when they tour Sri Lanka. The emerging boys are having a good tour here.
Yeah.
We are getting the exposure the young players wanted. So if you talk about I'm not sure whether it was technical committee driven or what drove to get these fixtures in. Once we came out of a COVID environment, there seems to be a lot more cricket happening. I think at one stage, it might have been Murali or Mahela just saying that, look, we are struggling to get things off the ground because of COVID hit in Sri Lanka, and there's not a lot of movement allowed. So when you think about that, and now when you think about the series and matches that are taking place, might be some of the work that they wanted to take off, and now
Yeah,
now we are seeing fruit. But unfortunately, I think all of them resigned from that role, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. No one's there. No one's there.
uh, back to JJ Jaram Jaratna to lead,
Yeah.
make some suggestions and push through. I think he was part of the director of cricket or something for Sri Lanka at one time, wasn't he? Don't
Yes,
know.
like he was the coaching director for a long time. Then I'm
Yeah,
not sure um, what capacity is
what they have done.
cricket board at the moment, but
Yeah,
still there. Yeah. If
yeah,
we talk about the other premier all-rounder of England cricket, Ben Stokes, uh,
yeah,
he has scored a magnificent 161 of 88 balls with 17 sixes, bro.
yeah. If I think he's missing playing the IPL, that's for sure. But
Yes, he
the good
did.
thing with modern day setups are now you see a lot of games being streamed. I mean, games over here, like we play in Melbourne as well, community cricket and whatnot, and there are still games that are being streamed. So every game there is some footage online, and to see Ben Stoke score these hundreds, it's just you're just laughing. And number one that I know, I mean, I think it was the off spinner who bowled to Stokes, that Stokes hits him for five sixes, and no,
Yeah,
five sixes and one
and a
four.
four.
Yeah, so he's not going to have a promising career until Ben Stoke will be captain, easy, because he'll be like, wouldn't be that impressed. So, but it shows the quality of Ben Stokes where he is at. It also shows the quality of where the county cricket is at as well. If someone can come and smack so many
Mm,
sixers without, a challenge, uh, that's what I think we are hearing in the media about English county, where
yeah.
they want things to improve.
Well, Durham is playing in County Division Two, Bora. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, you're right. We can't comment on it without without knowing what the real scenario is.
yeah,
But Stokes haven't scored a county century for nearly about 10 years, I think, because he hasn't been playing much county cricket at all.
yeah.
He was
He
been
wouldn't have.
involved with the England setup, or he was injured. So. But
Yeah,
as
he wouldn't
England,
have because he wouldn't have because I think the IPL always takes
yeah,
priority over the county season, so he might have been missing out.
but it's good for him being
Yeah,
England captain. I think the international summer is not far away for England, so he'll be ready to go. Speaking of IPL and Ben Stokes, Bora, our very own Chamari Atapattu is playing a franchise tournament in Dubai. He's playing for a team called Falcons, and it's
yeah,
a 8-team tournament featuring almost all the good women's cricketers from around the world, and she scored 100 in her first appearance, and unfortunately she got run out in the non-strikers yesterday in her second game, but
yeah,
we talked about her not getting any games. Well, the whole Sri Lankan women's cricket team not getting enough games. Yeah, good to see her getting some runs. Good warm up for the Commonwealth Games for her.
yeah, yeah. She's a class act. I think makes a statement any tournament she goes as well. So she'll score a few more runs up there. Bowls her off spin as well, so would be pretty good. Again, I think a circuit performer for women's cricket, and should be ready to defend or go perform in the Commonwealth Games for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, she's leading the runs chart. 2 games, 149 runs.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's move on to IPL and wrap it up. Bora, IPL, there's few more games to go before the
Yeah.
playoffs. Deekshana, Chamira, and Panuka are doing well in their team for their teams.
Yeah, you're right. The Sri Lankan boys are playing key roles for their franchises. I mean, Mahesh Deekshana seems to have found another gear by bowling in the the back end or the death overs. Dhoni's back captain in Chennai Super Kings, so um, he'll have a more stronger input in how the players because perform as well. So good for Mahesh Deekshana as well. I mean, he'll get some good advice with the Dhoni behind the stumps as well as to how to understand to read the game. He probably when a wicket goes while they're in the huddle, he's probably just letting Mahesh know this is what I want you to handle the next few overs or balls that he bowls. So Mahesh is going, he'll be all ears listening. Oh, hang on, this is something new. I've never heard of it. Or
Yeah,
he'll be, maturing as a player very quickly. Banuka's doing his standard
yeah.
40 plus runs, smacks a few sixes, goes hard, and he's doing well. I mean, short performance so far. And Dushmanta Chamira, standard performances again. So, um,
Only
have
guy, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, Vanidhu's been quiet. He's been doing his job, but he's been quiet, especially with his bat Bora. I'm a bit disappointed the way he's
yeah.
getting out. He's trying to hit everything out of the park. Maybe,
Cricket has been cricket has been a bit superstitious. I think he needs to give up his Nima celebrations off. Might change his luck. I don't know. So it's just not. I
yeah,
mean, a different way of celebrating might bring him some luck. So if Vanidu you're listening, gotta change what you're doing a bit. Find another celebration. I think um, it's getting a bit boring now.
we are getting towards the interesting part of the IPL.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a long tournament, but I lost interest after some time. Like it's
there's a lot of games.
10 teams and 14 games for each team, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's still going on. But because now we're approaching the finals, and I'm back in it. So
So no, might be a first time winner this year because both the newcomers are top of
RCB,
the ladder. Um, RCB Deccan Chargers as well. You still can't write them off. They seem strong players to push into that top four. Um, so that I mean, yeah, few more games to go. But sure, I mean, who think that Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings, and Kolkata Knight Riders will be the bottom three teams in the group at this stage? I mean, looking at the
yeah,
table, that's shocking. Like those were Kolkata have been, strong. They've all proven performers. They've won many trophies, but all three bottom of the group.
maybe that's why
Yeah,
they have been doing, like, all these players, they've been playing for their respective teams for some of them nearly 10 years.
yeah,
And especially the two new teams, they had the chance to build a new squad and bring
yeah,
in fresh players, and that worked for them. Maybe it's
yeah,
time for Mumbai, CSK, and Kolkata to, it might be a rebuilding couple of years for
yeah,
them. It's not
yeah.
like,
You're right.
it has become, I don't want to mention it like Manchester United. We've been rebuilding for the last 10 years, but, it happens in franchise sport, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I think you nailed it on the head when you said, look, it's the new teams are new, fresh, new setups. There's a lot more energy through it. Whereas like the Mumbai Indians, Kyron Pollard, and the setup has been playing over and over. And, sometimes you just get your energy just drains out. You just go through the motions. It's another season.
Yeah.
Whereas a new management or a coach or a players, they're all driving like I've watched a bit more closely LSG more than the Gujarat Titans because LSG had Dushmant as well as KL Rahul as well in the setup. So I kind of followed them a bit more.
Yeah, how good
And
is
they've
KL
picked up,
Rahul?
yeah, they've picked up some that squad they've picked really well in the auction and they've matched some good players into the mix, like Quinton de Kock. He's one of the best openers in T20 cricket going around because he always hits the 30 or 30 plus runs and he gets them in, I think, a pretty good strike rate. So those are, I mean, they've done some smart picks. I think they would have been a bit lucky as well, but just some quality picks that they managed to get through.
Yeah. And not only picking players, Bora, Mumbai has been reluctant to pick players who are in their squad in the first half of the season. That cost them as well. Like a guy like Tim David, he didn't get a chance up until the 7th game, I think. And
They're still making some shocking selections because Mumbai, I think, has gone and picked a South African wicketkeeper, 21-year-old wicketkeeper for I think one of the fast bowlers got injured. And I was thinking, it doesn't make sense. Or what are these selections? What's the reasoning behind it? So I don't think they still managed to fix it up or whatnot. They've finally managed to sing their team song, which is a good thing. I don't think half the team knew what they, because this is the tournament where we're trying to listen to every team's team song and finally got to listen to Mumbai Indians team song, what it was, because no, I mean, they didn't win anything for us to listen to the song. So I don't know whether they have a song, but I just
well, they should.
they should. I mean, every team's been showing. Is that someone's copied the Richmond Tigers song here?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's, I think, Sunrisers copied the AFL Richmond team's
Right.
song. LSG, I think Sweet Chariot is
Yeah.
their team song. So team songs are played a lot I think played in a lot of English teams, a lot of in Australia, a lot of the domestic teams or the club teams
Yeah.
or community clubs have team songs played after a game if you win. We don't hear it so much in our domain, like more the Asian countries
Yeah.
don't have a lot of. I mean, we started to. I mean, Sri Lanka had about 2, 3 songs. I think
Yeah.
when
Hatu,
Hatu
tried to bring
started.
that one in. Don't know what happened
Yeah,
to that.
I think there was about 3 songs when the Sri Lankan boys were going. It doesn't set up. It's not in part of our
And,
how do I say culture within the
uh,
cricket that we played. Never had it, so it's gonna take a while for it to stick. Because I think we were singing. I can't remember because
was it Hela Jatik Abhimani or something?
yeah, yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
Like, okay, I
It's a
can't.
team song when you
Maybe.
win, but then it doesn't bring you a lot of energy to singing it. So
No.
I'm like, oh, here we go. You're going into sorrow mood suddenly. So I mean, a team song's supposed to be bringing a lot of energy, and you just want to celebrate the win, not be just being in
No.
a standing still and trying to sing a song. But I think they tried. I think Dickwell at one stage I saw a few clips of the boys singing songs, but it never went down all right.
No.
That's my feeling.
Maybe
So
we stopped winning games, so like
they forgot
Mumbai.
about it. Yeah,
Maybe probably that's the reason.
yeah.
This is becoming more like an after party now, Bora. We are just talking about things. Anything else we?
Now, I mean,
Yes.
I think be mindful of time and just want to move on with the program. Guys, let's move into question and answer session. If there is any listener questions that have come through, tend
Yeah,
to roll out 1 or 2 questions when we can. So if you got anything spicy or
there is one. Malit from Go Go Tagama. So Go Go Tagama, he's
that's a good way to trend something. So
yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's a mythical village situation situated right in front of the presidential secretariat office in Colombo, where all the protesters are camped for the last month, protesting the government to resign. So
Yeah.
maybe Malit is spending lots of time there. Maybe that's why he mentioned he's from Gogo Tagawa. Yeah, he's asking what podcast do you guys listen to, and are you guys on TikTok?
There you go. You want to kick off? I'm definitely not on TikTok.
No,
I think I'm not sure. I might have opened up an account, but I definitely haven't used it. So
I am not on TikTok, but we opened up account for the podcast, but we
yeah.
haven't posted much on it. Like I think there's like a couple of videos there. Yeah, podcast. You want me to go first, Mara? I'll just check the shows I listen to. I
Yeah.
have a few. So listen to the All In podcast where Chamat Palihapitiya and Jason and David Saxon. They're all like tech entrepreneurs from California, and basically they talk what's happening in the tech world and overall the world situation. It's a very interesting podcast. I listen to it every week, and I listen to Masters in Business. It's a Bloomberg podcast by Barry Rithold. Yeah, there's a few, and I listen to Jordan Peterson podcast. Yeah, there's a few. What about you?
Yeah, you're right. Got a few. I mean, on the topic of out of cricket, do listen to a few finance podcasts. There's the Australia's Money Cafe or
Yep.
Australians Money Cafe. I find it it's run by James Kirby. I love listening to him. He does cover a lot of interviews and question and answers. Equity Mates have a
Yeah.
following of them. They do a bit of financial podcasts, which I find interesting. In cricket, I mean, I do tend to follow the Sky Sports Cricket podcast.
Yeah.
They seem to have some interesting topics. We do listen to our co-friends or colleagues, Mark Machado's
Yes.
got the pod going through Murali N.
Brilliant. Forgot about that.
Keen listener of him. They recently interviewed Chris Gale, which was a very excited, juicy episode. Yeah, I mean, entertainment name it, they got it. So yeah, just listening to a few, and then music on the road, I guess. But yeah, definitely a keen listener on podcasts. Spotify is one of my most used apps. So I'm actively because I'm on the road, on the way to work, on the way to a game, mainly on Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify, if you're listening, maybe come and sponsor our podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Before we wrap up, let's remind you about the competition we are running on our social media. This is the last week before we announce our winner on 15th of May. And you have a chance to win a bottle of gin from Four Pillars. And all you have to do is like the competition post on our social media. Give us a follow, give a follow to Four Pillars, and tag one of your friends. And the winner will be announced on 15th of May. More friends you tag, more chances for you to win. So yeah, you got one more week. Let's see who's going to win that bottle of gin. That's about it. You'll find all these links in our show notes. We'll add all the links. Till next week, that's a wrap up from there.
Cheers, guys.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.